paleontoloog die hem zal vinden en ontleden. Een rationeel mens wil niet meeleven zonder meebeleven. Hij wil zoeken en vinden nu. Hij leeft daarom met een grenzeloos heimwee naar zijn authenticiteit. En onderweg naar zichzelf speurt hij naar de verdeelsleutel die het raadsel dat hem omringt kan ontrafelen en die misschien zal passen in het slot van de poort van Eden. When I read something in Dutch, that is literally from Tim. When I translate it, it has no pretension to be a literary, a nice, art translation. It's merely a translation so that you get the meaning without the beautiful form, if that is possible. Paradise is not situated here on earth. The human mind is no foolproof mechanism, no fossil cocoon petrified waiting for the paleontologist who will find and decompose it. A rational person does not want to share the experience without sympathy. He wants to seek and find now. He therefore lives with boundless nostalgia for its authenticity, and on the way to himself, he seeks the allocation formula that can unravel the mystery that surrounds him, a key which might fit into the lock of the gate of Eden. In this presentation, I would like to try and make clear that this author also searches for the unraveling of the daily mysteries in order to find harmony, peace of mind. In that sense, I think this presentation fits in the overall theme of this conference, Declarations of the Sacred, seminal moments in Caribbean literary history. Marugg expresses his views of life and his poetics, I think, in his reviews of other people's work, as in the opening sentences of my introduction. I repeat, paradise is not situated on earth. And in the last sentence, the key that can unravel the mystery that surrounds him, and which might fit into the lock of the gate of Eden. I think, according to Tim, the poet is looking for the unearthly paradise by unraveling the world. But first a little about Tim. The ancestors of Tim on Tim's father's side came from Switzerland, which is what we read in the biography Henny Koolman's. I will quote a lot from this biography. In 1804, the first Marugg arrived in Curacao. He would get some daughters, no sons. One of them is Sabrina Maria Georgina Marugg, born in 1812. She named her son after her father, Martinez Marugg. So this son does not bear the surname of his agent, but of his mother. One of his grandchildren is the father of Tim, Johann Abraham Isaac Marugg, born in 1893. A man with biblical names married a young lady from Curacao, Johanna Helena Uriel, born in 1887. Tim's mother is not from Venezuela, as the rumor goes, but she received her upbringing on the mainland. This marriage was blessed with many children, of whom 7 survived. Tim, as he was called at home, was the 5th child, and he was born on December 16, 1923. At his Protestant baptism, he was named Silvio Alberto. He grew up in Rwanda. He attended Catholic elementary school and secondary school at St. Thomas College. He earned his ULO, the School for Lower General Secondary Education, diploma in July 1942. The 18-year-old young man, then in World War II, mind you, went to the General Secondary School in Unda, but only for 1 or 2 months, because Tim had to join, because of the war, the military service. In his biography, Henny Koolman's also mentions something about the character descriptions of that remain from his military service. Honest, tidy, studious, polite, intelligent, diligent, and quiet. Tip, in the 4 years and 7 months spent in the military service, had not gotten any penalties. During wartime, he organized schedules with fellow shooters, Louis Down, René Leroy, and Federico Brunel, to talk about literature and writers. In 1945, Tip published poems, thanks to the literary magazine De Stoep, and I think in English it's also De Stoep, let's say the doorstep, which was the only Dutch magazine then, during the war, controlled by the Germans in Holland, where those kind of literary magazines were not allowed. So, and again, the importance of Curacao. By the way, I think you all heard that Curacao was very important to win the Second World War, because I think 80 or 90% of the petrol came from our refinery. Anyway, okay. And from 1948, his book reviews started appearing, both in Papiamentu and Dutch. His first novel, Weekend Pilgrimage, was published in 1957. Ondersluit een stichtelijke aangraving. Per slot van rekening staat de school in het zilver, doch zijn gij het groot. Een zieltje zonder zorgen en een rebelse geest, lange haren en elektrische gitaar zijn belangrijk. Maar de voornaamste dingen daar in het leven zijn toch kennis, seks, geld en eerlijk voor de levens. Althans naar de opvattingen van een bejaarde ex-leerling die er geen cijfer van heeft. Nevertheless, dear sons and daughters of the sturdy monopod, in closing, an edifying word of advice. After all, the school is in silver, 25 years, but our gold. A little soul without worry and a rebellious spirit. Long hair and electric guitars are important, but the more important things later in life are still knowledge, sex, money, and respect for fellow men, at least according to the views of an elderly former student who does not have any cycle of it. And cycle is Apunso is slang for knowledge. Former student? He attended the school for 2 months at the most. So first of all, knowledge, even before you go to school. The second, of course, is sex. Without sex, no life, no school. Thirdly, money, to buy food. But then the last. And the last is always best kept in memory. Respect for the fellow man. I can characterize the humor of Tip as ironic, mocking, but he never becomes cynical. Although he heavily criticizes power brokers and knowledge abusers. In the review cited in my introduction, Marugg writes that the poet, I will skip the Dutch part and go on to the English. The poet is angrily opposed to the narrowness, the suspicion, the gravitational banality of a world of manipulated puppets where there is no place for security any longer for those who refuse to hop, dance in unison. On the other hand, the poet is the free individual who tries to penetrate into the beauty that can be found behind that nasty world. Those are his words. According to Tip, this is a characteristic of good writing. You see the nastiness around you, but you continue to search for the beauty, the goodness, the truth that is hiding behind, or, if you like, above that world, that physical world. I think he refers to the reality, the essence, the quintessence, which every good poet should be looking for. With a twist, for the respect for other people and life in general, and his search for paradise, I arrive at the second feature in the work of Marugg. Now, this is about his poetry, so sometimes I need to read the Dutch. But sunlight knows that my lust is intent. In Tip's poetry, the main character sometimes wishes to have a son. He articulates, he invents the child. Not a daughter, but a son. But he does not feel able to cope with father. In the series of poems called The Waterloo The Morning Wars Again, which consists of just 6 short poems, the theme of father and son is clearly addressed. Tip writes that the title could just as well be Idiom of a Drum for a Son. The first poem begins Kleine voetstappen in de leegte van de nachten waarom ik drink. Small footsteps in the void of the night while I drink. The second stanza then goes on. Dan ben ik de pedofiele vader die waakt en kortstondig met vrouwen slaapt. En I am the pedophile father who watches and sleeps briefly with women. The third stanza, I leave unattended for now, and the last stanza reads, Na zonvolle dagen waarom ik blink, after days full of sun, wife and drink. In this poem I experience nothing at all human, but a kind of instinctive desire to continue the bloodline. As far as I know, Tip had no hand in creating children, I mean children of real flesh and blood. In the second poem, in which there will be one of those invented words he is already famous for, the opposite of caress, something like stroking out of fear. Yeah? In the second stanza we read, Angst koost mijn dronken mannenhand, het verzonnigde lijfje van de zoon aan mijn zij. Ik stort het zaad in het donker uit. My drunken man hand strokes out of fear the made-up thin body of the sun by my side. I discharge my seed in the blood. I imagine that this stroking out of fear becomes an obsessive, neurotic, repetitive rubbing. The thin body of his side, on his side that he rubs does not really exist, but only in the imagination of the main character. And I think that stroking degenerates to masturbation, resulting in ejaculation in the last dark of